there.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. I am Chidi Akunna, and with me, as always, is my dear husband,
Victor Akunna.
All right, so if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, Foundation for Family Affairs, please subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you're notified when our content drops. And to every returning subscriber, I would like to say thank you. Thanks for engaging with us. All right, our mission at Foundation for Family Affairs is simple: to connect hearts and raise healthy families.
Yes.
And what we'll be talking about today borders on raising healthy families. Okay, as coaches, we work with a lot of couples. We set out today to do a video on reasons your spouse may be unhappy in marriage, in that marriage.
Absolutely.
And we thought, some people, because of our course from our experience, from what we've seen, some spouses don't even know when or why or how their spouses are unhappy. Oh, really? Sometimes when they come for sessions with us, you'll see one spouse go like, oh, really? Has that been it? I didn't know that. So we thought, okay, before we go to the reasons, we'll be talking about signs. Signs that your spouse is unhappy. You want to say something?
Yeah, because nobody wants to be stuck in an unhappy marriage. You know,
So true.
all of us had this fantasy that when I get married, I'm going to do this, I'm going to enjoy this, it will be my experience.
Yeah.
So you now walk into that fantastic marriage you've been saving yourself for, and then it feels off. You just know something is quite off. So for some of the spouses who may not even be aware that their spouses are unhappy, what signs? Right? Because at the end of the day, we try to raise people, try to give you guys the tools that you can now begin to become sometimes your own coaches. So what signs should I look out for? Because you might not be aware, you might be genuinely, sincerely unaware. So what should we be looking out for if your wife is not happy? And what should you be looking out for if your husband is not happy?
Yeah. Okay, so the first point we'll be talking about today is that your spouse shuts down emotionally.
Yes.
Talking from the perspective of a woman. Sometimes you hear women say, maybe the man asks, oh, what's the matter? You seem a bit off. And she's like, no, there's nothing. I'm fine. Everything's okay.
Yeah.
So she's not letting you get through to her emotionally.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people would call it stonewalling.
Yeah.
Right. She's reached that point where she's like, okay, we keep wanting to solve this problem, and it always leads to a fight or an argument. I'm done having that argument. I don't want it. And your spouse is just there. It doesn't mean that your spouse is not reacting the way you want to see her react. Does not mean that everything is okay. Okay, so she might be unhappy, but has just learned to bottle up her emotions.
Wow, that's so deep. Now, let me give advice to the guys. If your wife is telling you nothing, don't take it literally, because sometimes we as guys, we are very logical.
That's right.
On some issues. Like you just like, okay, she said nothing, and just carry on.
It's okay.
Oh my word, you're digging a grave for yourself. If she said nothing means that I've said this many times, you refuse to listen. So now it's nothing. It doesn't mean that it's nothing, doesn't mean literally nothing. It means that you have to really want it for me to share. You have to really prove to me for me to open up. You have to really show the interest that you care about my emotion. That's what she's saying by that word nothing, or I'm fine, or it's not a problem, or it doesn't matter. It does matter. Probe her, be nice, don't bully her into it. I've been asking you all this way, why are you not talking? Well, I'll just do my own thing. You're making the matters worse.
So tell us, what do men do then?
So sometimes what men do is that
signs that we can.
Yes, is that some men try to enter into their own cave, what we call our cave. And just want to create that place where you it's like a cold war, you're not doing all that bickering thing, but you're just in your corner. You might be in the same room, really, but you are emotionally disconnected. You created an emotional wall. So everything she's talking to you, like, you just keep that, something that would normally make you laugh. You're not laughing about it.
Or what you should contribute to.
You're just like, okay, really? Oh, okay. Yeah. You're trying to minimize, most guys are trying to minimize the conversation because they're trying to be the bigger person here. So you're trying to minimize conversation, so you're not quoted like, oh, you said this, so
not again.
So guys, sometimes we draw into the shell they're trying to understand, they're trying to strategize their next move. Some guys who are probably vicious, maybe, okay, so you talk to me like this before people, all right, I'm going to look for another opportunity to do the same. So they are coming up with their own plan, but that's not the best way to do it. All right, conflict is not wrong in itself. Conflict for us, we believe, is an opportunity to make your marriage better. It's just a sign that, okay, you know what, we don't agree on this. We are misaligned on these values. All right, I step on your toes. Okay, it's an opportunity to make redress. You can't have a happy marriage if you're not willing to forgive. And forgiveness is not something people earn. It's something you give.
That's right.
If you're waiting for someone to earn the forgiveness, it might take you longer. And I've noticed that when you hold on to unforgiveness, it makes your heart heavy. It brings a cloud over your relationship. And sometimes research shows that it has a negative physical impact on your health. You don't want to have that. Okay, so that's very, very important. Now, just to throw this in, the fact that you're married to a gentleman, be like, okay, yeah, I can do anything, all right, you will forgive me anyway. Or you're married to a woman that is very nice, or I can do anything, she will forgive me anyway. That in itself is one thing that some people do that even make the marriage really worse. Where you get to that point where the spouse doesn't want to hear anything about resolution, right? Because they know that you've been taking advantage of their personality for a very long time. That's really bad.
Good point. Okay, so the second point is that your spouse intentionally seeks to build a happy life with others.
That's very
okay, we've chosen those words carefully. Intentionally. Now the woman just gets to that point where she's like, okay, this is not I'm not finding happiness here. Man, I'm going to go meet my girls and have a happy time. Okay, so what you find happening is something happens to her and something she ordinarily would have confided in you about. She would go meet her friends to confide in them. Okay, or she hits a jackpot. Instead of celebrating with you, she decides to go celebrate with her girls.
That can hurt.
No, he's a killjoy. I'm not gonna let him dull my shine. Go meet my girls.
So for guys, one of the ways that guys do this is that it's almost the same anyway. Try to create, so for them, they may just, go to the garage and be building something. They're trying to create create fun. Alright, sometimes they throw themselves into their favorite sports channel. Sometimes they just go to spend time with the boys, But for those guys who are introverts, don't like to go out, all the time, who burn energy when they go out. Sometimes they may just want to pick a book or just go away to the library, or just create something else that will create fun for themselves and be screaming. Something that you normally invite your spouse to be like, oh, can you watch this movie? You just go down, just put on the Netflix and you're watching by yourself. You begin to notice some behavior that are out of character, not based on how you guys are used to interacting. You'd be like, oh, before he's used to waiting for me to come around before we eat. Now he just carries on and just, I'm just going to make the food I like. He's not even asking you, do you want to eat this? You just carry on.
Make something really nice.
Make something and you would like to eat it. I'm like, you know what? I'm just, this is really nice. And maybe when the children come around, do you want to have some help? How mean? Sometimes, just try to create that happiness in quotes outside the spouse, right? Because sometimes people do that because they're trying to get your attention to have a conversation. All right. So don't say, the worst case scenario to take, or the worst disposition to take you are trying to make my happy, I'm going to make myself happy. What will happen is that both of you are creating a parallel line. All right? Marriage is supposed to be like this. You guys are getting into each other, right? But when you are creating a parallel line, it doesn't meet, it doesn't interact. So after a while, people become roommates. They're just spending time in the same space, but they're not connecting. Their lives are disconnected. And that's not a good place to be.
Super. Okay, so the next point you may want to consider: sexual intimacy is impacted. Okay, they would call this sometimes loveless marriage or sexless marriage.
Yes.
Okay, so you just go on. That's not to say that there are no times spouses
Yes.
do not have sex.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that when you've gone a period
Spot
without
on.
it,
Yeah.
that you're unhappy.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Okay, because sometimes a lot of things have their influence as well.
Yes.
Like stress, or you're trying to meet a target.
Yes.
Okay, and people just, that's why sometimes we would say, if sex has been pushed to the background for so long, you need to schedule it.
Yes.
Yeah, so we don't just carry on.
Yes.
So, okay, so back to it. When sex is impacted, you just go on, and that's because you no longer find each other attractive. You don't enjoy that thing. I mean, he's trying to kiss you and you're like, please.
Yeah, please.
You know, not because his breath smells, but it's the problem. The problem between you. Okay, maybe your spouse is not happy about something and she's talked about it or tried to get you to reason and see things with her, and that hasn't happened, and you're carrying on, right? Like nothing's happened. At that point, she would no longer enjoy it. She'll just be like, okay, unless you just want to have your thing. Okay, and if it's a reasonable man, he doesn't just want to have his thing. He wants you both to enjoy it.
Yes.
Okay, so that could affect things in the bedroom.
That can also work in the type of a guy, because sometimes the general narrative is that he's the man that always needs sex. No, it's not always the case. There are times, and I'm saying this to women because if you've been trained or culturally conditioned to say that as a woman, it's not my role to ask for sex of my spouse or to initiate it, no, it's wrong. You are married. Married means that you have a covenant together, and both of you have access to each other's resources, including your bodies. So you can, same way he comes to you, the same way you can come to him and say, guy, what's happening? Yeah. You know, so yeah, having said that, sometimes when the lady is asking and be like, you know what, well, I'm busy, you know, you begin to see body language on the bed. Before, when you sleep, you cuddle, your legs are into each other. Now you're seeing them backing each other. You know what, you anytime, probably when she stretches her body to touch yours, she just pushes her neck.
You sounding like we do that.
No,
No, you were sounding experienced. What is that?
No, you don't have to stress yourself. You don't have to push the leg off, like, don't touch my body kind of thing. Why? Because you're trying to create as much emotional distance as possible. Alright, so the bottom line here is this. It's very important for you to think in terms of once your spouse is not happy and you notice this sign. Alright, it's not that they are working on a project. You know that this has nothing to do with their external life. It has to do with your internal life. So that's why they are moving away. Alright, so that's one telltale sign. Because sex is one of the most intimate experiences ever. Most intimate experiences ever that spouses share together. So, and when people are not happy with each other, they don't want to be intimate. And one of the things that suffers is sex and then also communication.
Okay, so don't forget we're talking about signs that your spouse may be unhappy.
Yes.
So if you've noticed this happening, your spouse keeps giving you the excuse. You want to, have koinonia, and your spouse keeps saying to you, I have this project to get ready. I need to have this target. I have this. There's always one thing or the other, because sometimes they make it look like it's only headache. It could be funky like that. Oh, I need to take this call. I need to do that. Okay, so if those excuses keep coming up, then it might be a sign. So at this, what we're trying to say is, when you spotted these signs, you need to get talking.
Yes.
What's the problem? How can we address whatever may be the problem?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the next point is that your spouse is always negative, or always criticizes what you do, or always defensive. Okay. We've seen this sometimes, and sometimes it's not right, but probably one person feels really hurt about the other, or unheard, and feels he's never going to want to listen to me. So whatever he does, or whatever he just asks a simple question, it will be hit with something negative, like there's so much aggression, and you're wondering, what's the matter? The matter is that there's a problem. She's not happy about something. Okay? Or criticizes you. We're not talking about constructive criticism now. It's negative. It's so harsh. The way it comes across. Or before you say something, she's ready to defend herself. Her guards are always up. then we need to check what the problem is. Yeah.
That also happens for guys as well, when sometimes they just want to use something that's usually when you are correcting or you are talking about, you often be like, oh, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, I forgot to lock the other window that I opened. Oh, that's fine. I'll just go down. Or something like that happens now. You'll be like, oh, every time you always forget that window. I don't know. One day you'll let people into this house by yourself. I don't know what your plan is. You're like wondering,
right?
What does that have to do with anything? All of that just for this little window thing. So it means that the person's capacity to bear with his spouse's weaknesses or errors has become really exhausted or really thin, such that they just react or they use it as an opportunity to poke back at the spouse, to lash out at the spouse, just because it's not about that issue. That issue only presented an opportunity to do what you've already decided you're going to do. That issue only presented an opportunity to do what you've already decided to do. All right. So that's why instead of spouses going at each other to the point where both of you even forget what the issue is, you can't even remember what exactly started this out. But you only remember how you're feeling about this, how you're feeling about each other, how you don't want to spend time with each other. But the real thing that triggered the whole, spiral, that caused this to spiral to this point, you can't even remember. So as a guy, you don't have as much verbal power as your wife. So most times the best thing to do is to call it, say, time out. What am I doing wrong? What can we do? All right. So
research has shown that ladies have more verbal power.
Yeah, most times. There are exceptional cases. But most times ladies have more verbal power. So don't try to win. If you want to win someone, don't win them in their area of strength. The best thing to do is to call time out and say, hey, I know you're not happy about this, and be the bigger person and try to work things out. All right, try to work things out. If you get to that point where, some issues will happen that they won't even register on the radar because you guys have built some level of. So let me use an example. Some of the things that we react or quarrel about today, or quarrel about 10 years ago, it happened now, we just kind of move on. It's not really, it has to be something fundamentally value shaking for us to have a conflict. Because over the years, she's proven to me that I'm important to her. She's proven, not by what she says, but by what she does when it's not convenient. Alright, so over those years of building that credibility with me, it will take something really phenomenal for something to really shake in my heart about her. And when you have some level of trust in someone, or trust how the person's unwavering commitment to you, some little things don't really register on the radar. So some of the advice we are sharing might not really apply to people who are just starting. That's why we're saying, as you are starting out, you have to build that over a period of time. So anytime there is conflict, start out and begin to walk through it. So for people who are further down the line, let me quickly point this out, right? Because somebody may be thinking, we are 20 years in marriage, but we are still having some issues. Now, some of the reason why that may be is because you get to that point where, because of stability, you just kind of, all right, my wife will always be there. She will always forgive me anyway. And you begin to do something that hurts her. I was listening to a man that we both of us really respect, and he was talking about an eagle flew down and carried a weevil, and was taking that weevil up and high, and you know how the eagle soars into the sky. And then the eagle just started flapping, started wobbling, like, what's wrong with this? Happened. Then the next thing, the eagle dropped and crashed on the ground. And people were like, what's happening? Until they checked, they noticed that the weevil, because the eagle wouldn't let go of the weevil kept cutting into the eagle's heart. So, what does that mean? Sometimes something that don't think that your relationship is an eagle is very strong. It will sustain. The eagle can. They say the research says that eagle flies in the eye of the storm and it can conquer anything. You guys have conquered a lot of things. I mean, we couldn't have a child, we didn't have children until almost 8 years. That was a major issue that there was in our relationship. We weathered it, we're living our best life, we didn't allow any of that to bother us. So don't think that, you've come to that point where you guys are now strong, you're an eagle, you are flying, and then you're allowing some little issues to fester for a period of time. It might be a weevil, it might be small, but if you let it go, it will keep cutting at the heart of your relationship.
That's right.
So that's why you see some people, 20 years in marriage, 25 years in marriage, just say, you know what, I don't love you anymore. The children are established, they moved out of the house. You just to see that there's no connection between this person, and then you just be like, so that's just a
That's a very good one you're throwing there, and I love the way you explain these things. Very good. Okay, so the next point you need to consider would be change in body language. Change in body language. Probably before, when you come in, your wife will drop whatever she's doing to meet you at the door. And then suddenly she's seated there reading whatever she's reading, and you walk in and she's like, hi. Carries on.
Or she stands up and walks into the room.
Ouch.
That's even worse.
Ouch.
Some guys do that.
Yes. More like, okay, you can have your space now.
Yes.
Okay. And then sometimes it might just be that you're talking to someone, because these things are in the emotions. So they do not, sometimes you not realize that they come out in your actions. Okay, you're speaking to someone and they have their hands there, or they're standing and kimbo like just.
Or have this smirky, disgusting look on their face, like, what is he saying? What's he yapping?
So it comes across in the body language. So what we're encouraging you to do is, at such times, you may need to wait. When you think your spouse is better disposed to having that conversation, you ask, okay, what's the problem? What's going on? I've noticed that you don't seem happy. And then she might go back to the first point we started with and say to you, oh no, there's no problem. Everything's fine. But maybe the body language is telling you everything's not fine. Okay, so we need to get to that point where we help each other. Okay, and then you who is hurt, be willing to at some point say, do you know what? Okay, I'll just let go of it. Okay, and that's why sometimes too we would always say that you cannot find happiness in your spouse. So if you are maybe, and this is for singles who may be watching this, you want to go into a relationship to be happy, then you'll be going on the wrong ride, on the wrong journey, because you should be bringing your mojo into the relationship. You should be bringing your happiness into it. Marriage works better that way. Okay, so find happiness, be whole and complete. And we would say, find happiness in God.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so He truly satisfies. So at that point where probably there are some issues you've been raising again and again, you've been butting heads on this issue, you just talk to God about it. He knows how to speak to your husband, to your spouse about that issue.
Fantastic.
Okay, or orchestrate things to bring the information to your spouse. Right? And at the end of the day, it's that we're together and that we enjoy our marriage, because that's a sign of a successful marriage. You should be enjoying your marriage.
Fantastic. It's the quality of the relationship. I like it when people say we spend 19 years together. I love it. All right, there is something in that. But I love more when it's the quality of the relationship. Don't tell me you spent 19 years with someone and it's 19 years of hell, 19 years of yelling, 19 years of sabotaging her career, 19 years of making her look small, 19 years of making her shrink, 19 years of making her scared, 19 years of making her lose her identity. I don't want that kind of 19 years. I want 19 years that makes her bloom, that makes her blossom, that makes her glow when you walk into the room, that makes her fall in love with you every day all over again. Those are memories. Those are the kind of memories that a woman will cherish and treasure. All right. So when we put in the years, let's make sure they are quality years. It doesn't mean that it's going to be 100% quality years, but make sure that more years are happy than are sad. That's the whole essence. All right. No marriage is perfect, because marriage is perfect in itself, but the people managing the marriage are not perfect.
That's right.
And so everyone is at different phase of their journey. All right. So the better you know, the better you should improve. And that's why we're sharing this nugget. So the more you know, the better we should see in your results, the better we should see in your attitude, the better we should see in the way you treat and talk to each other. Very important. Very, very important. Yeah.
All right. So we've just shared some 5 points with you. All right. So there are certainly other points.
Yes.
We'll be happy if you can drop them in the comment section.
Yes.
Let's know what other points do you think spouses would. So, and sometimes we ask for these comments in the comment section. People send us emails, okay, or they DM us on Instagram.
Yes.
Okay, and we understand that. Someone said to us the other day, "Oh, I don't want to leave it there, so they don't think I have that problem."
No.
So we understand that. So okay, if you're happy to do that, we'll still be happy. You can send us a message on info@foundationforfamilyaffairs.org. It's on your screen.
Yes.
Right? Or you can DM us. Find us on Instagram, Foundation for Family Affairs.
Fantastic.
I will pick it up. But we'd like to hear from you, and it might just help the people watching this as well to learn even more.
Yes.
So just leave something in the comment section. So the next video, we'll go back to the main points.
Yes.
Reasons your spouse is unhappy.
Yes.
Reasons your spouse is unhappy in marriage.
Fantastic.
Very, very critical points you want to make note of.
Yes.
Okay. Even if you're having a good ride, you may just want to learn that. Okay, and then also help a family around you.
Fantastic.
If possible.
Fantastic.
Okay, so and if you think you would like to register for our Intimacy Builder program, it's a coaching program, an 8-week coaching program with a 1-hour free taster. You can hit the link in the description box and we'll pick it up and be in touch with you.
Absolutely.
All right, so don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Turn on your notification bell. Until we come your way, it's goodbye from us.
Goodbye.